US government can steal your children if you don't let them do chemo. We need to stop the state from kidnapping our children now. In this video, you will learn about the medical kidnapping of children in the United States. You will also find out about the corrupt Child Protective Service and how they use children for drug trials, money and sex. Don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also share this video on social media with all your friends and families. So let's begin. If you have kids under the age of 18 in the United States, the state can medically kidnap them. Medical kidnapping means that the government can steal your children if they don't follow standard treatments. The state can accuse you of abuse if you bring your child to the emergency for an injury or illness. You can also lose your child if you don't agree with a doctor and want to seek a second opinion. Medical kidnapping is part of a larger problem of state-sponsored child kidnapping. The state removes the children from parents without any formal charges. Parents lose their children often without any warrant issued by a judge. Social workers assume they are guilty with no formal charges filed in a court of law. Parents must spend lots of resources to get their children back from a family court system. Sometimes the parents can get their children back, but sometimes they don't. If this is the case, they get adopted out. Even if the children can return home, they are severely traumatized. Medical kidnapping is rampant in the United States. Let me share some stories of cancer children that got kidnapped when they didn't want to do chemo. 8-year-old Sara suffered from brain cancer. Sara had a surgery where the doctors removed 90% of her brain tumor. Her doctors recommended a year of chemo to kill the rest of the cancer cells. When Sara did chemo, she suffered from nausea, weight and hair loss, sore throat, and slept 22 hours a day. Sara's family wanted to try something else than chemo. Child Protective Services got involved when her parents refused to let her undergo chemotherapy. A court told the parents that they had to agree on the doctor's treatment plan or they would lose custody of Sara. The court and the family eventually reached an agreement on a treatment plan. Sara had to do chemo but at a lower dose. This is just one example where the parents were not allowed to decide for their own child. The McAdams family experienced something similar. Their 3-year-old son, Joshua Noah McAdams, got a leukemia diagnosis. Noah underwent chemo treatments for 2 weeks. After this period, Noah had no more detectable cancer in his blood. Noah's parents wanted to seek a second opinion instead of letting their son undergo 3.5 years of chemo. The family went to Kentucky to find the best medical help available. Blood lab tests showed that Noah had good health. The hospital in Florida knew that Noah's mother Taylor wanted to seek a second opinion. They harassed Taylor through phone calls to come in for more appointments. Taylor at that point stopped returning phone calls. That's when Hillsborough County sheriffs reported Noah as missing and endangered. The police went to Kentucky to remove Noah from his parents and take him back to Florida. Another horrible kidnapping story involves the little girl Grace. 2-year-old Grace was a happy, thriving little girl. She had just celebrated Christmas with her family. Grace had a mysterious lump on her side, so her parents went to the emergency room with her. The doctors found a mass on her kidney and said that Grace most likely had a Wilms tumor. Within a day, the hospital had already scheduled Grace to have her kidney removed. Her parents said that they wanted a second opinion and to explore treatment options. The doctor turned around and then called Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services swooped in with incredible speed and took Grace from them. Grace's mother Leah could not understand how they were diagnosing cancer without further testing. Her little girl showed no symptoms of any problems. There was only the lump that had just recently appeared. Grace's parents did not want their daughter's kidney removed without any proof. The doctor installed a port into Grace's heart so that they could administer chemotherapy. My last story I want to share is what happened to Cassandra. Ty Bollinger from Truth About Cancer spoke with a former cancer patient, Cassandra. Cassandra experienced her real-life medical kidnapping in December 2014. In this interview, she shared how the police and the DSF forced her to do chemo for her Hodgkin's lymphoma. A guard outside her room stopped her from leaving the hospital and she couldn't use her phone. One morning the doctor sedated her and strapped her to the bed. They then inserted a port and gave her chemo drugs without her consent. So I will create a card so you can watch the whole interview. It's horrible that children need to do chemo against their will. Chemotherapy uses a mixture of poisons to kill cancer cells, but in the process it wreaks havoc on healthy cells and the rest of the body. Chemo also causes more cancer. Many countries of the free world enforce no vaccine, no school policies. Some countries include the United States, Spain, Greece, and much of Australia. The whole medical establishment is corrupt beyond words. Financial greed is the reason why we still use chemo, not because it cures people. There are many news stories where children underwent chemo and died. Little Charlie Proctor died of chemotherapy drugs after he had a rare form of liver cancer. Mickey Bennett, a 12-year-old boy that had leukemia, died just weeks after he was told he was cancer-free. The chemo treatment destroyed his white blood cells. Mickey later contracted an infection that then led to his death. Jacob Thompson became famous when he asked strangers from around the world to send him Christmas cards. 9-year-old Jacob had stage 4 neuroblastoma. He later died even if he had conventional cancer treatments. Talia Castellano was a 13-year-old girl that battled neuroblastoma and pre-leukemia. She became famous for her makeup tutorials on YouTube. Talia became an honorary cover-girl model and inspired many with her videos. She died on July 16, 2013 from her cancer treatments. The state kidnapping of children is dark and sinister. There are many reasons why the government abducts children. One of them is to provide subjects for clinical drug trials. The US federal government has mandated drug research with children. Drug companies can only do drug trials on children if parents give their consent. Most parents refuse to let scientists do medical experiments on the children, so the state uses Child Protective Services to enroll foster children in drug trials. They don't need any approval from the child's parents or court orders. In this way, pharmaceutical companies can force children to become human guinea pigs. Children with rare diseases are especially attractive to Child Protective Services. Such children are highly prized subjects for experimentation. The child care system is a billion-dollar industry. Whenever a child enters state CPS control, federal funding flows into that state. It is the best interest of state budgets to bring children into the CPS system. The longer child services can keep the children, the more money they can make. States have a massive incentive to take children and put them up for adoption. Adoption brings even greater money into state budgets. Thousands of social workers depend on CPS budgets. The government pays a financial bonus to the councils if they secure their quota. So children get taken into adoption in vain so that the state can meet the targets and cash in. Authorities don't have to prove that the child experienced abuse. Only a vague suspicion is enough. Parents can lose their children even if they are cleared from any accusations. Psychopathic social workers use a rigged system to take children and give them to foster parents. The authorities look for fake abuse that they can use to steal children from the parents. This is becoming common, but the public doesn't realize it because it's all done in secret. The cases that we hear about represent only a fraction of the children removed by the state every year. Social workers seize children by making allegations of parental neglect. These accusations are often ridiculous. Some examples include parents yelling at their children, parents losing custody of their kids when they come late to school, a 3-year-old boy taken from his mother over a diaper rash, 7 homeschooled children removed from their father because he had an unapproved mineral supplement, a judge that ordered the removal of children from a couple in Arizona because they didn't check on a fever, a mother that lost her 3 children because her daughter was too short. Unproven allegations against parents can result in permanent loss of children. Parents who have done nothing wrong find themselves without their children. Even if they are proven innocent, the family court system may refuse to return their children. Once the family court puts children out for adoption, the parents have no way to get them back. Parents find themselves in a secret court where media reporting is not allowed. The abduction of children happens across the world. 800,000 children a year go missing in the United States. Many of them are victims of pedophilia networks. Most Americans who are victims of sex trafficking come from the foster care system. It's a broken system that leaves thousands of children vulnerable to the illegal sex trade. Satanic and pedophile rings have infiltrated social services and the system in general. Kidnapped children suffer unimaginable horrors such as satanic ritual abuse. The wealthy elite is behind these child sex trafficking networks. Satanism reaches the highest levels of government, the NGO, banking and more. The child service used now is worse than any abuse children experience in dysfunctional families. We should protect children from real abusive parents, but that is not what most of this is about. The system itself doesn't care about children. Children put into foster homes do not do as well as children left in troubled homes. We all need to arm ourselves with information about this corrupt system. This is why it's so important that parents get involved now and stop this madness. We need to form networks to communicate information and support each other. Parents should decide over their children, not the government. The US government steals children if they don't follow standard medical treatments. Secret family courts can take children from parents without any real evidence. Pharmaceutical companies use child protective services to enroll foster children in drug trials. The child care system is a billion-dollar industry. Many kidnapped children are victims of sexual abuse. We need to stop the state from kidnapping our children now. One way to prevent children from getting medically kidnapped is to take care of their health. You need to give them proper nutrition and help them let go of the trauma. Download the Childhood Cancer Healing Protocol to discover how to stop your child's cancer. Learn 9 natural remedies you can use to prevent cancer in your children and stop the state from kidnapping them. The link to this ebook is in the description box below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.